Welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily, and right now we are getting into the news review segment. So as the 2024 general elections draw nearer, the political landscape is actually getting heated with key issues stirring up and causing national discourse. So we are going to get in some of these topics, and here with me today is Sahadatu Alhassan. She is from the NDC communication team. Hello, Sahadatu.
Hello, my dear.
How are you?
Good. And you?
I'm fine, thank you. So we're going to be looking at different issues, from government, assuring the efforts to revoking mining forest reserve regulations, to the issue of the anti-LGBTQ bill, and so much more. So I'm going to be starting with the first story, and we have an article there on ChannelOneNews.com. Galamsey fight. Government to revoke mining in forest reserves regulations. The government has announced its intention to revoke the Environmental Protection Regulations 2023, and that's the LI 2462, when Parliament reconvenes this month. So this move is a part of its broader strategy to intensify enforcement measures against illegal mining, particularly in water bodies and forest reserves, which remains designated red zones where all forms of mining are prohibited. The government statement, signed by Information Minister Fatimatu Abubakar on Monday, October 7, disclosed the law enforcement agencies have been fully empowered to eliminate illegal mining in these protected areas. The statement also revealed that the Attorney General will collaborate with the Chief Justice to ensure that cases involving illegal mining are actually stopped swiftly, and reinforcing the government's resolve to curb this destructive practice. And it goes on to say the government expressed its support for a proposal that all presidential candidates sign a pact to commit to fight against illegal mining. This, its hopes, will help depoliticize the issue and foster unified national action against the environmental menace. It has therefore voiced its surprise at organized labor's decision to move ahead with industrial action scheduled for October 10, 2024. Organized labor had earlier demanded the stronger measures to address the illegal mining crisis. The government, however, reaffirmed its commitment to continue engaging with organized labor and other stakeholders in constructive dialogue to find solutions in the ongoing challenges posed by illegal mining. And there's so much more on that story. All you need to do is go to ChannelOneNews.com to read all the article. And also joining us in the studio right now is Loratu Musasaka, who is part of the NPP communications team. Hello, Loratu.
Hello, Grace.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you already heard where we're starting from. Yes.
All
right. So because of that, I'm actually going to be starting with you.
Okay.
So this reassurance, or this assurance by the government, is it to entreat the organized labor not to go to their strike?
So good morning.
Good morning.
Again. Good morning to our viewers. Good morning to Sahada. You just read a statement that was released on Monday.
Yeah.
There's another statement just a few minutes ago from the Ministry of Information. So if you would indulge me. So it's a press release. So government takes further action to tackle illegal mining. So one, government in its continued efforts to clamp down on the long-standing menace of illegal small-scale mining has concluded operational measures to intensify the ongoing Operation Halt, which is led by the Ghana Armed Forces to raid our river bodies of all forms of mining activities. Two, this phase of the operation will be done in conjunction with the Small Scale Miners Association of Ghana. Three, government reasserts that river bodies and forest reserves remain red zones. Four, government reiterates its commitment to the fight against illegal small-scale mining and calls on all stakeholders to join the fight. And it's signed by the minister responsible for information, Fatimatu Abubakar.
Right.
So this is the latest from our government regards to the fight against Galamsey.
Right.
So just to go back a bit, organized labor, there's been hue and cry.
Yeah.
There's been concerns about the impact that Galamsey, which is illegal anyway. There's nothing legal about Galamsey. Galamsey is illegal mining, whether small scale or at any level. Once it's Galamsey, is illegal. And organized labor took the charge. His Excellency the President put together a 5-member committee to engage organized labor. And organized labor came out with a statement after that meeting. And in that statement, if you remember, they stated that government asked for, the team on behalf of government asked for some more time to engage other stakeholders with it. Because one of the things they were calling for was the ban on small-scale mining, which was also going to hinder the livelihood of a certain section of people. Don't also forget that aspect of mining contributes almost 40% to our gold production. You're also looking at an economy that is now rebounding. So if you're going to take these measures, it has to be carefully thought through. The right stakeholders must be engaged. Fast forward, there were a series of meetings with the president and organized labor and all that. Organized labor came out with another statement that they were going to start their strike on the 10th. I mean, there were a lot of comments about they giving time and all that. Now, today is what, 9th? On Monday, just as you read, because it was quite surprising, because there was a meeting, there've been a series of meetings with organized labor. So if government has made certain assurances and you're still insisting on going on strike, then government needs to let the people of Ghana know that this was what was agreed on, but still there's an insistence on the demonstration. So those, the statements you read, you read
plus the one you just added.
Earlier statements you read came because Parliament reconvenes on the 15th of this month. Government is going to go through the process because allies are passed by Parliament. So Parliament has to do what it has to do. Then there were a few other things that were good. The Attorney General was going to collaborate with the Chief Justice to make sure that cases to do with Galamsey are fast-tracked and all that. Then the statement too, because the main thing that government kept saying was that there's another way of the other stakeholders that need to be engaged, who are not necessarily part of, so like the small-scale mining. How best do you fight something if not with the people involved in it? Because they also need to come on board, join, and protect their livelihood. Because now they are all being lumped. Those doing legal small-scale mining, those doing illegal small-scale mining and other forms of mining, Galamsey, which are illegal, are now giving these legal entities the bad name. So how best to, so they have an association, they know each other, so collaborate with them, let us fish out. And the other emphatic thing is that now river bodies and forest reserves have been declared as red zones. So there are no go areas. So if anybody in a community that has this issue of Galamsey sees anybody in these areas, they need to raise the alarm. Nobody is supposed to go on these river bodies and forest reserves whilst we wait for Parliament to reconvene so their ally can be. So fundamentally, I mean, but if organized labor still wants to go ahead with what's the plan, I mean, nobody can begrudge them for that. I mean, the fight is on. We all need to be unified in purpose to make sure that we clamp down on this and not have our country come back to this position anymore. All right, Sahadatu.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning. Your thoughts on that?
To Laura too. I heard Laura too speaking. It's so amazing. I've heard you read the press release from the Information Minister. Laura also read a new one this morning, and I don't think Ghanaians are expecting press releases. I don't think that is what we are calling for. I don't think that is what these young men who have been arrested for protesting against Galamsey wants to hear. What we want to hear, or what we want to see, is that we reclaim our lands, we reclaim our forests, our water bodies. This is what we are calling for. And for some time now, I have asked this question, that if we are calling for, if the organized labor is calling for a state of emergency, I don't think they are calling for the head of the president who put his presidency on the line. And this is not too much to ask for. We are not only talking about today. We are not talking about 8 years when MPP assumed power. We are talking about the future. Today, the life of a farmer who, due to Galamsey, have lost his farm, because of Galamsey, has lost his livelihood. I hear MPP communicators speak, and they speak about legal miners and their livelihood. And the question I ask is, do you think about the farmer's livelihood? Do you think about that child that has been on earth for no fault of his, that lost one eye, lost one leg because of Galamsey? I always want to see MPP communicators talk and then look at the water bodies. They should not look at what is on their paper, what they've written to defend. They should they should just have a view of the water bodies before they talk. This is a president who there was no gun on his head, promised to put his presidency on the line. Last week I was on another station, and I was asking if we could declare a state of emergency during COVID. What is wrong in declaring a state of emergency at this time? Our waters are no longer safe, and you are giving us press releases. You are giving us, look, MPP gave us a lot of measures to tackle Galamsey, and it has gone from bad to worse. Today, it is worse than it was in 2016, and you, the media houses, can testify to that. You, the media houses, were even the first point of, fight of Galamsey. You started it before this government took over and said they were going to do, and the president put his presidency on the line. Legal miners, I have always said this, that you could be a legal miner and mine at the wrong site, which makes it illegal. Today, we no longer have a safe water. I don't even trust a bottled water I buy. And this is the state where we are. Is it too much to ask for? But in all this, I believe that the Labour Commission, the organized labor, have put in a request. Today is 9th, tomorrow is 10th. And for the first time, I want to see organized labor walk the talk. I want to see organized labor put their threats to actions for the first time. Because I believe the organized labor is not asking for press releases. They have their conditions they've put before the government. And of course, this government cannot be trusted on the fight of Galamsey. This government cannot be given an extra time to fight Galamsey. Organized labor gave them a whole 30 days, and we've not heard anything. They've given them an extra 10 days, and tomorrow is exact 10 days of their deadline. We want to see them walk the talk. We want, look, all we are doing is for the future of this generation. At least President Nana Addo and Bawumia took over from someone. And of course, the Deputy Sanitation Minister sat on another station and said that he admits that after we have invested almost $3 million in the fight of Galamsey, he admits that they have failed. And this is where we are now. Let us do what it is right, not because of the political flags we are holding, but because of the children we are giving birth to. Our next generation will ask us questions and we cannot answer them. My sister, they will ask you, your kids will ask you, Mommy, where were you as a journalist when our water bodies were being destroyed? My daughter will ask me, I'm sure Laureta's children would ask her, And so this is about time we fight this issue of galamsey, devoid of any political sympathy also. And I have always said this, that the fight of galamsey, if you think that you want to associate it with political, what do you call it, political
parties or stuff like
yes,
yeah.
Or let's say I want to have the right word for it.
Politicize it.
Politicize it, or probably the NDC is taking advantage of it. Even if yes, that the NDC is taking advantage of it. Even yes, if the NDC is politicizing it, are we saying the truth? Is what we are saying the right thing? Because I believe we are all not proud of our water bodies now.
Okay.
And so this is not what we want to hear from the government. And I'm urging the organized labor that for the first time, yesterday I listened to Ghana Medical Association, their withdrawal from the strike. And I was surprised because they were even the first people to have even issued a statement with regards to our water
what we are
body
going through.
and what we are going through. And they feel it and they see it even more. And so I was surprised at the point that, but why? What is happening? Okay, anyway, fine. But we want to see organized labor walk the talk. Enough of giving us promises, enough of giving us press statements, enough of giving us what happened to Operation Vanguard.
Yeah.
What happened to, what do you call it? And this, it got to a time I was like, wow, we've lost life in the fight of galamsey.
Right. So,
and a president who happens to be a human rights lawyer.
All right, Laura, let's go into the Environmental Protection Regulations 2023, the LI 2462. Of course, this actually governs the conduct of mining activities within forest reserves in Ghana. And I know, obviously, this seeks to balance the country's economic interest in economic resources with the need to still protect the forest reserves, the ecosystem, and biodiversity. But when you look at this closely, you made a statement, the river bodies and the forest reserve areas are red zones. And before this was actually implemented by Parliament, didn't they know all this is actually our, red zones? Because I don't think that there should be anything like, mining in those same red zones, because you've put the law now. And I think because of this LI, it has also given the ripple effect of, illegal mining, because these people will go out there thinking that nobody will see them. They are forest reserve areas. How many people enter the forest? You understand? So what are your thoughts on this LI?
Chris, before I even go to
the LI.
issue of the LI, which is also one of the issues that was raised in the statements you read earlier from the minister responsible for information on behalf of the government. Let's be very clear on some of these things. I don't think our compatriots in the NDC, when they are talking, they listen to themselves.
Okay.
Or I don't think that Sahada was listening to
you.
me. Right. Who is government? We are all part of government. Right. But there's a leader. Okay. And definitely when there are issues that citizens are worried about, the first point of call is the leader. We have a leader who has said, and you see, when she talks about MPP took over from someone, MPP took over from the NDC. MPP took over from a president who, in times like this, would have said he has acquired a dead goat syndrome. People can do whatever they want to do. No strikes will happen. But what did His Excellency, the president, do? He put together a team to engage and understand what the real concerns are. I asked the question on another media station. When in the height of the issues, the president asked after a national security meeting for the military and the police to be deployed to those areas. Which media house followed with that? Who amongst us followed with that? Nobody did. Right. Now, as we said, she's talking about Ghana Medical Association pulling out of the strike. I mean, then you don't understand the situation of health in this country. What are we talking about? We are talking about water costing us lives. Yeah. Human resource. And I mean, if anybody understands the burden of disease, look, the water we drink, the water that runs through our pipes, doesn't know Chris, doesn't know Sada, doesn't know MPP, doesn't know NDC, doesn't know a Muslim, doesn't know a Christian, doesn't know a child, doesn't know an adult. So when it comes to some of these issues, we need to be very careful about the things we say. Right? It's a collective fight. Government needs to lead the charge. We haven't shied away from it.
Yeah.
But if you think that anything government says must be poo-poo, then where are we going to? And we talk about the LI being passed. The LI was passed by a bipartisan parliament. Unfortunate though, I mean, with what is happening now, I mean, I don't think the LI was passed in bad faith. Because definitely when there's a law to something, there's some regulation to it. Because the law will stipulate how things have to be done. Yeah,
because of the economic interests.
Exactly, because people were already going in there. So you needed laws. But we realized that it doesn't serve the purpose. What do? Get it off. And that is what government has committed to do when parliament reconvenes. And it's a bipartisan parliament. It's not only a one party. It's not only the New Patriotic Party that has members of parliament in it. And there's no way, even with the state of our parliament, that the New Patriotic Party alone can deal with some of these issues. So sometimes we need to be very careful in the mischief and in trying to divert attention from the well-being of Ghanaians. You're talking about Ghana Medical Association staying out. And I've heard a lot of people, now I just told myself, people don't understand the situation we have in health. The doctor-to-patient ratio recommended by WHO is 1 to 1,000 patients. What do we have now? As at 2016-2020, we had 1 to a little over 9,000 patients. Now we have 1 to 7,000 patients. Are we solving a problem to create a problem? We are talking about lives being lost. Even if doctors and nurses leave the hospital for even an hour, we know what the impact will be. So sometimes don't let us, in our quest to get capital that will cost people's life, let's be measured in some of these things. We are talking about water. If the workers at Ghana Water Company go on strike today, let's even assume the water we are getting, we expect 100% water. And even for them, the standard requirement is 5% wastage. So we are supposed to get 90% of water. We are not even getting that 90%, we are getting like 60%. Then you ask them to go on strike. What do we come to? 0. So don't let us try to solve a problem and create problems that we can't come back and deal with. And create problems, like talking about people who have been arrested. I don't know whether you heard, someone was just telling me yesterday, the guy who was frustrated and was told that Ghana lost his child.
Oh.
Someone was telling me yesterday. So when all these things are happening, nobody is against anybody going on strike, but let's be measured and let's look at the bigger picture. So today, Ghana Medical Association goes on strike. Nurses and midwives go on strike. Those who, Ghana Water Company people go on strike. ECG workers go on strike. The banks go on strike. An economy that is rebounding. The lives that we are talking about, the quality of water we are talking about, the power that we are talking about, then we come back to what? It's a different case where government has also decided that the person we took over from, his modus operandi, that's where we're going to follow. We've acquired a dead goat syndrome. We can't be bothered about it and left it. I don't think we could have all managed the chaos. We would have been having a different conversation today, right? But in the case where you are trying to deal with it, and our compatriots think that it's all about the election, it's all about votes, and not the lives of the same people that have to be healthy and go and vote. Go and tell people that they'll come and show them how to do galamsey properly. Go and tell these same people that they'll come and give them amnesty. When the government now, apart from putting security there, apart from all the other interventions, brought in mercury. One of the conversations has been the use of mercury. Brought in gold catchers. And inshallah, if Dr. Baumia is given the mandate, is going to enhance that, right? The livelihood, the national program for livelihood and employment, that's doing the reforestation and all that, is there. Look at it today. Minerals Commission was enhanced, especially their monitoring department. So there are measures that have been put in place, but because we've all not come together as a people to face this, Because at the end of the day, look, the water sources move everywhere. Nobody can stop water from flowing in all parts of the water. But one thing that we should know is that when I go into a hospital consulting room in any part of this country, I'm not seen as MPP, I'm not seen as NDC, I'm seen as a patient first. Let's look at it. The water that flows. I lived in a mining area, and I was telling someone 2 days ago, I lived in a mining area. The best we did to water then was filter it, right? But when I came to Accra, to school, and ended up staying here for national service and working, when I moved into Efla, the water, I could not even use it to boil water. It's that galamsey. When you go to places like Jam in Northeast region, people are farming on river banks and water bodies. It's that galamsey. So let's look at this problem. Last week I said it. We need a holistic approach to it. Government is doing what it has to do in the area of galamsey fight. We all need to come together. Yes. Because at the end of the day, it is not me. It's not like the water when it's not good or whatever repercussions galamsey comes with. And what even intrigued me was that all the issues that we are talking about, lead and all those things, lead can be in a human body for 30 years before even showing signs. So what is it? All the metals that we are talking about that are in the water, is it from galamsey? When we go to the mechanics,
that will be you making an excuse for galamsey right now.
No, I'm not making an excuse.
Because we don't know where it's coming from. Chris, it could actually be from galamsey. Nobody has said it's not.
Chris, so places that we are not doing galamsey and we are still having issues with the BDT, don't you think we should address those ones too?
Yes, I think
human activity.
I think we should.
When you go to the mechanic shop and they change your parts, do you sit down to ask yourself where those parts end up? Most of them end up in our water.
Exactly.
When you use your household waste, do you sit down and think, where is this charge? Why did we have issues at all?
You know,
and all that. But what I'm saying is, you read a statement, right? You read a statement with government's commitment to the fight against galamsey. I read a current one this morning. It came out it's less than 30 minutes ago, right? So the fight is there, but at the end of the day, let's also look at it. What are we fighting? So we fight galamsey and come back and fight other problems that are causing our water bodies to have high turbidity and have to be used and all that. And people talk about the chemicals in the water and all. The chemicals they use, the alum, the lime, now they have like poly something that they use. I keep forgetting the name. Those chemicals clean up the water. They don't stay in the water. You can ask any water expert. You can talk to the Water Resources Commission.
I agree with you, but I would still say it's important.
Galamsey is an aspect of it in certain parts of the
don't you think you are politicizing it by saying? Because at the end of the day, it feels like you're saying we have these other problems. Why are we talking about galamsey?
How political is that? Well, man, politicizing it
because of what she said.
I was throwing light on what she said. You heard what I said from the beginning. But if you sit down and say MPP communicators, it is not about MPP communicators. And if we want to be very honest, it's not even about His Excellency the President. It's about all of us.
It's about Ghana.
And what was the last statement from the current statement of Ghana? Government reiterates its commitment to the fight against illegal small-scale mining and calls on all stakeholders to join the fight.
Yes.
It's not about government alone.
All right.
Because if government is leading the charge, and I live in a community, and other things are happening, and I'm not letting it know. I mean, we've had people who've done videos and are fantastic. Draw attention to the issues. There's no problem with that because government is not omnipresent. Even when you have a district chief executive, a municipal chief executive, even a police commander, they're not at the same place the same time. Even with our nurses and other health staff, we even have issues with equity when it comes to distribution. So
I understand.
Have the people involved at this end. So if me, as an indigent, as a citizen, the thing is happening there, and I think that I should keep quiet. It affects all of us because then the person is emboldened to continue doing what you're doing. So it's a collective fight.
Yeah.
We all need to be involved.
I agree with you that it's actually a collective fight. On that note, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue the conversation. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Breakfast Daily, and we're still in the news review segment, and we are having a very, very interesting conversation that you would like to join in. So feel free to join in at any time by sending in your messages via the WhatsApp number on your screen. And if you're watching on Facebook, you can actually put your comments right on the comment section. And don't forget to use the hashtag Breakfast Daily if you want to comment on X. All right, so Laratu just, made some assertions, and what do you think about it? But before you go about it, I actually think, like Galamsey, is a very serious issue. Illegal mining is a very serious issue that should not be downplayed in any way.
So I'm excited when Laratu was talking. At one breath, she said we should not politicize it. We should tackle it from a holistic point of view. At another breath, she was politicizing it, and you were calling her attention. Now, if Laratu heard what I said, I think at some point we are on the right path. Both of us are on the same path, because I said that we should all think about the next generation in the fight of Galamsey. Now, how did we get here? When I spoke about the Ghana Medical Association, I didn't really go into details, because I said that they were the first to issue a statement on the issue of Galamsey and its effects. And so I said I was surprised when I heard them withdraw. I didn't go deep into it. Now, Laratu says that we are tackling this issue and that we are politicizing it, and that we are... In the first place, how did we get here? What, I don't know. I stand to be corrected. When you say you put your job on the line, do you really know what it means?
What does it mean?
It means that you're going to do everything possible to make sure that what you are protecting is protected. Right? At a point where everybody in this country is talking about Galamsey, we are still issuing licenses. Are you saying that that is also too difficult for the president to put a ban on issuing licenses for the meantime? How did we get here? Organized labor asked the president to ban totally Galamsey for some time. We were locked down during COVID because we need to tackle the issue of COVID. And the statement of the president is that we can bring back economy, but we cannot bring back lives. Is that not the same lives we are talking about today? How contradiction is the president? How too contradicting is the president contradicting himself? The same life during COVID, or is it because the world will bring donations and that they will receive money during COVID? So it was so easy for him to say that we will bring back the economy, but we cannot bring back life, and so everybody should go on total lockdown. I am not saying that when I go to the hospital, I will be treated as a politician or as an NDC person. We all know that when the effects come, it knows no child, no adult, no man, no woman, no political colors. But if the president is really banned in fighting Galamsey, there are so many measures the president could have taken as the head of governance, so we could not get to this point. At the point where we were investing money in planting for trees, yet you bring an ally to mine in our forest reserve. How sensible is this? I have always said this, that if an NDC person is caught in Galamsey, they should deal with him and him or her, and I would not defend that. I am not a communicator who would defend everything, whether good or bad. I'm a law-abiding citizen. The president said we should be citizens and not spectators. Today, the president himself is a spectator.
All right.
Because on this issue of Galamsey, if the president really sits in a car, do you remember what Professor Mills used to do? Professor Mills would just walk into an office, an institution, with unannounced, just to know what is really going on. If indeed the president is born in fighting Galamsey, this is not the time to be issuing statements. That is what I mean. I don't mean we should poo-poo on the statements being given. No, what I mean is that, as Laratu said that, no, that is what I mean is that if the president is really willing to fight Galamsey. We've seen the president use his left hand to direct the regional minister because somebody was sitting during national anthem. So let us see the president use his left hand to talk about Galamsey and the peoples whose name have been mentioned, who happens to be part of his government.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the airline, all right? Let's talk about the airline. You know, there's a part of the airline that talk about rehabilitation and reclamation. And if NDC comes into power tomorrow, how are you going to ensure the rehabilitation of those lands that have actually been deforested and the water bodies that have been affected by this?
I have had problem with this airline right from the start. That it wasn't at a time where Galamsey was in 1992. That this airline was passed. The issue of Galamsey was becoming worse day by day when this airline was passed. And entirely, it's on an unfortunate incident that we should not even have go there.
Yeah.
But we are there.
So what will NDC do?
And the NDC have promised, John Dramani Mahama has promised to deal with Galamsey drastically. And I am sure the airline is one of the things that John Dramani Mahama would cancel first. Because if anybody wants to fight Galamsey, I think that is the first point of tackling an issue. Lauratu was saying that our water reserves and our forest zones are red zone. I don't think that is this airline should be cancelled entirely.
Yeah, but what will NDC do?
That is what I'm telling you, that John Dramani Mahama would make sure that he cancels the airline. So we could know how to tackle the issue of Galamsey.
Right.
Now, when we say they should put, when I have said this, that when you banned entirely Galamsey, whether illegal, whether legal, and you banned it, and then you take some few days to assess it and know where exactly the problem is, it will be in the best case to tackle the issue of Galamsey. But when you keep talking about, that is where I have problem. Because you meet MPP communicators and what they keep repeating is the livelihood of those miners. For God's sake. Those miners who have saved much, those miners who have mined almost everything and the lands are now crying for their lives. What are they looking for now? As Lauratu said, let's deal with this issue holistically. And your president, the president whose biggest achievement is demonstration, should look at the demonstrators and listen to what they are saying. I have said this countless times, that I condemn the excesses of the demonstration. But when you affect someone's mental health, when you affect somebody's health, you don't expect the person to react the way you want the person to react. Well, the reaction of the person would be entirely from what you expect, and that is the excesses, even though I condemn it. But if the president have listened to a whole lot of voices that have been coming up on this Galamsey issue, I am not sure would have come to this. Right. Maybe, just maybe, if organized labor walk the talk for just one day, maybe the president and his vice president, who he takes advice from and who we all know that the advices Palmia has given Nanado right from 2017 have been a failure, and that is where we are now.
All right, so
and
let's
so
talk
we
about
are not ready to take another failure again.